Hi, I'm Micah, and I just want to give you all a quick reminder that Community Christmas is coming up in just a couple short weeks. As we move closer to this event, we are still needing lots of volunteers to help with the Christmas market, as well as continued donations of toys to fill the market. And you can sign up for volunteering at bolivarcom.org/communitychristmas, and can find out suggested gift ideas on our community Christmas trees that are posted at Walmart and other businesses around town. Now, as we draw closer, I also want to take a minute to answer a question that we commonly get, and that is, why do you charge money for the gifts at the event? So to answer that question, let's first look at how the market works. Our community Christmas market is directed at helping families with kids who may find it hard to provide gifts for their kids otherwise. And the gifts we collect are set up on our shelves and are marked down to 80 to 90% off of retail prices. So for example, a $50 gift is only $5, or a $70 gift is only $7. So parents then can come in and shop for their own kids and get a super affordable opportunity to provide Christmas for their families. On average, families will spend $15 or less per child. And as a part of this process, we also sit down with every family beforehand to go over a simple family budget to help them think through how to pay these prices. And in those cases where the parents truly will not have even those few dollars needed to buy those affordable gifts, like in cases where maybe the parent's between jobs, then we have opportunities where they can volunteer to earn vouchers that they can use in the market. And so this brings us back to the question of why charge for the gifts instead of giving them away for free? So I just want to highlight 3 key reasons why. First, and perhaps the most important, creating a small price for the gifts provides dignity to the parent and helps them become the hero of their family's Christmas. When it comes to charitable acts, we need to shift the focus away from how our giving makes us as volunteers and donors feel to how it makes the recipients feel. The reality is that for many people, there's shame in not being able to provide for your own family. Most parents don't want to be labeled as needy or have to accept a handout from a stranger. This is especially true as we think about the parents' relationship with their own kids. So we've heard many stories of dads not coming to Christmas giveaway programs or parents going to extreme lengths to keep their kids from knowing that they received their Christmas gifts for free from an organization. Robert Lupton, one of the pioneers of the Christmas marketplace idea, tells a story of one Christmas when his church brought free gifts to needy families around their neighborhood. And he noticed a trend where the kids were super excited and the moms kind of seemed grateful, but the dads almost always hid in the back of the house. What Lupton realized then is that their church was unintentionally emasculating the dads by exposing that these dads couldn't provide for their own kids. Instead, they were training these kids to view these well-meaning church members as the heroes instead of their own parents. And this observation was a key reason why his church switched to a Christmas marketplace similar to what COM is doing this year. And so that's the first reason why we're charging a small fee for gifts. It shifts the narrative about who is the hero of the story. Because when parents pay for the gifts, even if it's just $1 to $5 a gift, they can now legitimately say that they purchased and provided that gift for their child. In this situation, we allow the parents to be their child's hero rather than a bunch of strangers who happen to swoop in and save Christmas with free gifts. And so when we place less importance on how events like this make us feel and more on those that we want to help, then we see that a small fee for gifts can better uphold the dignity of parents. Second, charging a small amount for gifts promotes ownership of the gift. Now, everyone loves free stuff. If I were to go out and stand on the street corner offering free food or free money, tons of people would stop by, right? Now, whether they actually need it or not. Why? Well, because it's free. However, one of the downsides of free items is that we don't have a strong sense of ownership for it. We don't value it the same way as something that we've earned. Now, I remember in high school watching my classmates and seeing 2 types of responses to their first cars. Now, there were some of my classmates who had wealthier parents who simply gifted them nice cars that didn't cost the student anything. And then there were other students who had to work jobs and save and scrimp enough money to buy an old used car and then invest more of their own money to fix it up. And what I notice is that my peers who were simply given a car often abused that privilege. They sped through town and seemed to more frequently get in fender benders because that car didn't cost them anything. Meanwhile, my fellow classmates who spent their own money on their car diligently cared for that vehicle because they knew what it cost. There was a stronger sense of ownership. And we even see this concept in the Bible. In the Old Testament, God commanded that the wealthy landowners provide a portion of their crops to the poor of the land by leaving the edges of the field unharvested. However, God did not tell the landowners to harvest and deliver this food to those facing poverty. Instead, what we see is God instructed those needing food to come harvest the grain themselves. And yes, those with the resources were asked to sacrifice profit and offer it to those around them, but those with need were also expected to give something, their time and ability. In this system, the food gathered would be valued and used well by those who needed it. Had it just been given for free without cost, it would have been easier for the recipients of that charity to let it spoil or go to waste, knowing that, well, some generous benefactor will take care of us again in the future. Now, with Christmas gifts, when gifts are purchased, even if it's for far below the actual retail value, it promotes a similar sense of ownership because of that exchange. Parents don't want to see those gifts returned to the store for a gift card or abused by their children because they spent their own money on it. And they're likely to encourage their own kids to value it more because now there's a stronger sense of ownership for that gift. Finally, this marketplace model helps to minimize the divide between givers and receivers by inviting those with limited financial resources to join us as fellow collaborators. At COM, our ultimate vision is for the rich and poor to meet together because the Lord is the maker of us all. Now, one of the downsides of free giveaway programs is that it sends the message that the people we are helping are needy or less fortunate or helpless. When we insist on all of our assistance being free, we're also saying to the person that we're serving that you have nothing to offer. In my years in this work, I've heard many times recipients of free charity say in response that they're willing to volunteer or to give back in some way. In fact, they want to often. Again, we have to think about a person's dignity. Imagine the impact of our charity when it's always only free stuff given to those that we label as needy. We repeatedly say to them, you have nothing, you have nothing, you have nothing. And our refusal to let those with limited finances give back in any way is a way of saying that you've got nothing of value to offer. But that is a lie. People struggling with financial poverty have so much to offer. They have talents, they have wisdom, they have faith, they have tenacity, they have other resources too. And when we silence or stifle these assets because we want to feel like a savior to them, it actually creates a climate that feeds poverty instead of breaking it. And for many that our charitable programs help, they do have some money, it's just not a lot of it. For many, they may not have enough money to afford that full price gift, but with some planning can have enough money to afford heavily discounted gifts. And for those that truly have no money because of a job loss or other unexpected crisis, we're working with them to use their talents and other skills to volunteer or give back in ways to earn money for buying those gifts. And so while free charity and handouts are an appropriate response when there's an emergency crisis that the victim can't do much to solve, such as a house fire or a medical emergency, whether or not a person has a toy or multiple toys is probably not really considered an emergency. Now, it may be important, and rightfully so, but it's not an emergency that requires one-directional giving. In situations that are not emergencies resulting in loss of shelter, food, or health, it's generally best practice to involve the recipient as part of the solution instead of doing everything for them. So when we charge a small price for these gifts, it's a way of saying to those struggling in our community that you are not helpless. In fact, you can be a fellow collaborator in this program to not only help your own family, but others as well. The reality is that the small amount of funds raised from these gift sales is not creating profit necessarily, but it's helping to cover the operation expenses for the market, and then can also be reinvested back into the program to help this market grow and help more families again in the future. In this sense, the families that are using the market this year are helping others down the road. Suddenly, no longer are families needing gifts, helpless projects for our charity. No longer are these families solely reliant and dependent on the charity of wealthier donors, but now these families are an important piece of making Christmas happen for families just like them. They're now collaborators with us. So these are the three primary reasons why we are selling these gifts at a super low cost instead of just giving them away for free. Doing it this way makes the parent the hero of the story. It fosters ownership of the gift, and it transforms parents from needy recipients into capable collaborators. So these are some of the reasons why this Christmas marketplace concept is advocated by many Christian poverty alleviation groups. Organizations such as the Lupton Center, True Charity Network, the Christian Community Development Association, and the Chalmers Center all recommend this type of Christmas marketplace. And so this decision, it's not just some random idea that we're pulling out of a hat, but it is actually based on best practices in the poverty alleviation field. So when you hear that Community Christmas is charging for gifts, don't freak out, but realize that there really is a lot of thought behind this decision. We're not making money or getting rich off these sales or trying to impress people because we're heartless. And we do have accommodations for those families that we meet that truly cannot afford even the low prices of the gifts. Just like everyone else, we want to see kids smiling at Christmas because their parents got them some amazing gifts under the tree. However, we also want to make sure that the process of providing access to those gifts does not become all about making me as the giver feel good while stripping away the dignity, the choice, and the ownership from our neighbors. So I hope you'll join us for Community Christmas. And if you ever have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. So God bless and Merry Christmas.